Welcome to the Hemp Del Sol podcast. All health, no high. Here's your host, Mary Lisa Lawless.
Oh, hello, Mary Lisa Lawless. Good to see you, as always. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, friends, family, community, as I always say on the Good Neighbor podcast. Wonderful universe. We are here to give off some positive vibes and make your day just a little bit brighter, if we can. Yes.
That's
okay,
the goal.
Cool. That is the goal, as always. All right, so today we are going to dig deep into CBDs, because I know that's a big part of what you do, and you are truly an expert in that arena. So I thought we would do something a little bit different. Okay. We're going to do a little rapid fire questions. We're going to go down the line, and we're going to go through some various questions that I've drafted regarding CBDs. So, okay. Mary Lisa, I just have one question for you.
What's that one?
Before we start.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am absolutely ready. Fire away.
All right, let's get started. Okay, so number one, what is the biggest myth about CBDs?
That it's a drug. That's the biggest piece, is that it's a drug and that it is marijuana. Those are the two pieces. So people confuse hemp and marijuana all the time because they're both cannabis. So it gets lumped together.
I like to look at these things. So ever since I started on my journey with plant medicine and these different healing modalities, I kind of, the way I frame it in my mind when I take, and this is just, we're just playing semantics here, but I think this is fun exercise. When it comes to the distinction between a drug and a medicine, right? In my mind, this is how I look at it. So like I see cannabis for me, not as a drug, I see it as a medicine. Mm-hmm. And the way I look at it is, if I'm taking something for a quick fix, for a Band-Aid, for a it's more of a drug. But if I'm taking something kind of with intention for my personal healing, that kind of thing, I look at it more of as a medicine. That's just how I talk about things. I know, take it or leave it, for better or worse, but that's just how I look at it. So there's a lot of things that others might consider drugs that I look at more as medicines. That's just me. Yeah.
No, but it is actually a cultural shift that's starting to happen. Mm-hmm. You know, as we become more comfortable with marijuana and start to see the medicinal benefits of marijuana or cannabis in general. There's many people that are starting to make that shift, that, you know, that's the real medicine. Plants were the original medications.
Yeah. And words matter, right? The way we talk about, we've talked about this before, the way we talk about things, like just talking about this stuff as if it's a drug comes with this negative connotation. And Absolutely. It's just better to reframe things and talk about it like, okay, so next question.
Okay.
Oil, gummies, or capsules? What's your go-to? Or do you have a go-to?
Well, I actually think the tincture, the oil, is the best administration. And sometimes it's just about a personal preference. So however it's put together, the only thing I am like anti is smoking or vaping.
Yeah, because that comes with a negative
health. Yeah, it's got a whole health anti-health piece. But I see the tincture is the best for bioavailability. Tincture is the oil that goes under your tongue. So it's basically coconut oil, coconut oil and CBD, and that's it. So you hold it under your tongue, and then, and again, on an empty stomach, and it doesn't really have to go through the digestive process that both a capsule and a gummy would have to. So a capsule breaks down more rapidly, then that would be my second go-to. The capsules break down.
So what would be, if the tincture is the most effective way to do it, is the reason why people would opt, like personal preference, to do, let's say, an edible, a gummy, or whatever that might be, just because maybe they don't like the taste of it or the feeling of it when it goes in? It's just, that's all it would be. Like, ideally, you would take the tincture because it works most effectively.
The tinctures work the most rapidly and the most effectively without any negative health. So what works the most rapidly is the smoking, but it's got all these negative connections to it. So no, it's not the best. The best is the tincture under the tongue, bioavailability and all of that and how it's absorbed. And again, taken on an empty stomach. The capsules have to go through the digestive process. They break down easier than the gummies. The gummies take even longer to break down because then it's not just a gel cap or a vegan cap that it has to get through. It's breaking down what's put the gummy together. So it's having to break all that down. So, and it does come down to personal preference. Older people, like people older than me, in their 70s and 80s and 90s, actually prefer the capsules because many of them are used to taking vitamins and minerals and sometimes medications.
That's just another pill they could put in. It's just another pill they could drop into their Monday through Friday or their 7-day giant pill regimen or whatever.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly why that for that administration is easiest. People that are our age between that 40-ish and 65-ish, we like the tinctures because we understand the benefit. We do all that. The younger people have a tendency to like the gummies just because it has more of a recreational feel, even though it's not a drug and they're not going to get high on it. They like it, and it's not even that sweet. Some of them are really sweet.
The cannabis ones are really sweet. I know that.
Yeah, well, they have to actually because the cannabis is really bitter. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they got to put a lot of sugar in them.
Yeah. So
that's my preferred method.
The Veritas Farms gummies, they're peaceful mind gummies and they're sleep gummies. They have also passion flower and lemongrass and lemon balm. They have different things added to it, so it changes the flavor. It's not just, but they're vegan and they're small. They don't have any sugar, and they each have 50 milligrams of the full spectrum CBD. So people like those, and I don't know why, but gummies are at least expensive of all the products as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in general, the gummies seem to be the least expensive when it comes to hemp supplements.
Speaking of calming effects and helping with sleep, can CBD, this is the next question I got for you, can CBD really help with anxiety? Right? Because I think a lot of people, people that are unfamiliar, they hear that like, yeah, I know for me, like anyway, my personal experience in working with cannabis, and I know this is true for many people, cannabis can actually in many cases induce anxiety because it's an intense feeling and it can create that panic. What about CBD? Is this really something, and I know we've talked about this on previous episodes, and I know it does, but I just want to get your spin on that. Like, how does it work to reduce anxiety?
Well, it works in the brain. It works on what we all have as an endocannabinoid system. So on those particular neurotransmitters, it triggers that, and it seems to create different effects in the brain, which then helps to bring down the anxiety. So it works on inflammation and anxiety, according to all of the studies and the anecdotal. I mean, 1,000 different people have come through my doors over the years, and I've never had anybody tell me it didn't work on their anxiety. And if you take care of the anxiety, it often helps with your sleep. There's some of the sleep products have an extra ingredient that's from the hemp plant called CBN. CBN is specifically for sleep. So a lot of the sleep products will have that added to it. So it adds, a little bit extra for sleep itself. But at the end of the day, they all seem to help with anxiety.
They act on the dreamy receptors.
Yeah.
So speaking also of sleep, how long does it usually? And obviously, this depends on the method. We talked about the tincture versus the gummies. But like, if you're going to take something for sleep, with the tincture, for instance, is that something that I'm getting ready to go to sleep? You want to take like 15 minutes before sleep, a half hour, an hour? No. Same thing for gummies. Do you want to take it hours before? What's the timing? How long does it take to kick in?
Again, because of how they're absorbed in the body. The tincture, you take the tincture, get yourself ready for bed and get into bed. So 15 minutes.
It just goes right. Yeah.
Yes. The next is the gummies or even the capsules. I don't think I have any capsules for sleep. No, it's just the gummies or the tinctures. And I haven't actually seen any capsules specifically for sleep. But
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought of that. The
sleep capsules going, baby.
Gummies, you take about an hour before bed because it still has to go through the digestive process. So you take your gummy and you use it as a way to start getting ready for bed. So having good sleep hygiene also helps with better sleep. Having like you go to bed at a regular time, you're not on your phone and you're not on the computer, not watching TV, you like turn off all the electronics because of the electromagnetic fields. You know, start to wind down about an hour before bed anyway. So
as per usual,
yeah,
these things become a lot easier when you do the work to develop habits. Like these medicines that we're talking about, CBDs, they are just tools, right? And I want to encourage people to get away from taking these tools and using them as a replacement for creating the daily habits and doing the hard work that's going to, because then you're just using a drug at that point. So is it okay from your experience? I'm sure it is okay, but like, is this something that you want to be taking daily? Like, let's say you have problems sleeping, right? Do you want to be taking the CBD every day for the sleep if you're not doing the other thing? Like, right? If you're not doing do you want to use it as a crutch like behavior? Yeah, because there's like a fine line between these two things, right? It becomes very easy. We're human beings and we're creatures of habit, and we tend to go towards comfortability. So if there's a way for us to take a shortcut and not, and scroll on your phone before sleep and get all the blue light and all that crap, and then just take the gummy, well, what the hell, right? Like, is that negative in your mind to do that? Should somebody be moderating their intake when it comes to taking it for something like sleep or their anxiety?
Well, there are people that will just take it. They just take it. They don't try to change any of the other behaviors. And that's no different with anybody else that's used to taking medications.
Yeah.
It just has less side effects. Most medications have side effects. The CBD doesn't seem to have the same side effects. It only has the positive, sort of like vitamin C. It doesn't really have any negative to take too much.
So the answer is yes, you could take it every day. It doesn't have any side effects, but you should also develop daily habits and do things that are going to increase and then maybe you don't need it every day after a while. Or maybe you do, but it's not going to hurt you.
No, I've had people come off of it. I've had people stop and say, wow, those couple of months that I needed it, it was amazing and wonderful. And I'm so grateful that, I've gotten all these other things in line in my life and I don't need it. Because as a marriage and family therapist, as somebody who's dealing with people's trauma and anxiety and all the things that are going on in their life on a regular basis, I'm offering people skills to deal with the specific behaviors that have been impacting their sleep or increasing their anxiety or making their bodies not work to their optimal, at their optimal. So when people are coming to me, they're working on both at the same time.
Well, win-win situation.
It is. It's a win-win for people.
I could only imagine, just like anything else, if you take it regularly, the body will ultimately develop a tolerance and you need to take more of it. Or is that not the case with CBDs? Because I can see if you take it every night, at some point, it's like, hey, it's not working as well. Maybe I'll take 2 of them. And then it can become a thing where you're just like, eventually it just doesn't work for you.
No, and I do know people that will stop taking it for a period of time because they're concerned about that. Okay. But I've yet to see any studies where you actually develop a tolerance to CBD. I've seen studies where people are developing tolerances to THC, but because
guilty
hemp isn't okay, but and exactly, hemp is not a drug; it's a supplement. So, I take magnesium every day. I take vitamin C every day. Not together; they don't go together. I take vitamins every day, and I probably will for the rest of my life because it keeps me away from medications. It keeps me healthy. I eat a decent diet. I try to get exercise. Maybe not as much as I need to get, but that's we're all a work in progress. But the CBD, I've never had anybody develop a tolerance over the, and my experience has only been since 2018, seen anybody develop a tolerance. What I've seen is that people get to a place where it's like, oh, I didn't need it tonight. I don't need it every night. I don't need it every day. Oh, my anxiety's in better order. Oh, I'm actually feeling like I've got a little bit more mobility, and wow, because the pain has decreased, I'm sleeping better. Because the anxiety is down, I'm moving through my day easier because I've added meditation. I've added, doing other things. So yes, it's a supplement. It's not a drug. People don't become addicted to it.
I think that is a very important distinction and a way to frame this and look at it from the outside if you don't have an experience with this, because I think I'm guilty of looking at it, of being one that looks at it more like a drug, but it is just that, right? It is a supplement, right? It's right. just like you said, it's very similar to daily vitamins. It has that low of a risk factor associated with it, if anything, right? Like there's no cases of anybody getting hurt from CBD that I'm aware of.
Sleeping better, people sleeping.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
Go for it.
Full spectrum versus isolate. What's the difference?
Full spectrum means that it has all of the ingredients of the hemp plant, meaning that it's got what people are looking for or listening for is the THC. So in this country, it has to be less than 0.3% THC delta 9 in order to be legal, federally legal. And when it's federally legal, it's because they consider it to be a supplement, not a drug, and all that good stuff. So some of it's just political.
Hold on. So the strains of cannabis that I get with 28% THC or whatever it is, those are not supplements?
Those are not supplements. Those are actually.
Dang, I thought I was taking supplements every day. Oh, what am I doing?
Well, okay, what they have started to do with the 28%, ones that are 10 and 10% and 30%, 40%, they're adding CBD to it. They're adding CBD to those products because they know that it's the CBD that's really the most helpful. I honestly believe, and this is just my belief, the THC and the marijuana just makes you uninterested in what's going on. It doesn't actually fix it.
It does wonders for your creativity, though. Like it's done wonders for my musical inspiration. I get inspired all the time from it. That's one of the main reasons.
And they have many different strains, so you can find something that will do, basically anything you want. And that's the whole thing with sativa and indica. And hemp is considered an indica, which means that
is it really?
In the marijuana industry, they say indica means indica couch, and that's how you know it.
Love my indicas.
Yeah, but hemp is considered an indica because it is not something that gives people energy or things like that. It's really just and they're cloning more and more of the hemp plants to have other ingredients as their primary. I heard that they were doing cloning with CBG. CBG is another ingredient in the hemp plant, where CBD has been the primary ingredient. They have isolated the CBG, which they believe is a stronger, more powerful anti-inflammatory, and that they want the plants then, and because they can clone and they make all these different little hybrids, like they have with the marijuana industry, where they've made all these different strains. They're creating strains, so to speak, that are CBG prevalent, that they're more with CBG.
CBG.
I know, CBN.
CBF, CBH, CB. We're going down the whole alphabet here. Okay, so full spectrum, got that. What about the isolate? Okay. So the isolate is on the other side of that. You tell me. I don't want to.
Where it takes everything out. There's nothing else in it except CBD.
Okay.
And some people, I do carry that product as well. I carry that in a tincture form. I used to carry gummies, but they weren't. Several companies have stopped because they didn't find them as effective. So the CBD isolate is really for people that are terrified of even the trace amount of THC. So
worried about a drug test, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, and it's not just a drug test. It's a specific drug test. So people that take the isolate are the ones with a CDL, ones that work for the federal government. It is so interesting because the federal government, that's federally legal, but the federal government has said no. So the isolate are the people that are in professional sports. So as professional sports, people that are in drug rehabs, they'll take CBD, but they want to take the isolate so that there's no opportunity that they would ever test positive.
Yeah.
The challenge is for anybody that has smoked marijuana that they're trying to shift it to CBD, they can still test positive for up to a year afterwards because THC gets stored into the body, gets stored in the adipose tissue.
Yeah. So if you stop cannabis, you have like fatty deposit, you have some trace. And if you keep taking the CBD with a little bit of THC in it, it keeps it kind of stimulated for an extra time. Is that what I'm, no?
No, because marijuana you'll flush through, you'll end up with a negative tox screen within a month.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
If
so how does it go a year?
If you smoke marijuana regularly and then you quit, you could still, even though you could say, I don't smoke anymore, you could still test positive for up to a year because it gets stored into the body, into the adipose tissue. Hemp, it doesn't store it because it's a trace amount. It doesn't have enough to store. It doesn't have enough to create that kind of a genetic profile. And, realistically, if you're truly afraid, and people will give children isolates, even though you're supposed to be 18 before you do CBD or any of that, many parents will give their kids CBD without any negative effect at all, with actually positive results for treating attention deficit issues and attention deficit hyperactivity, all of those kid disorders. Parents will do that instead of giving their kid medication. They've reported. I've never had a parent say, it didn't work. Every parent that's ever done it has said, where can I get more? That they actually want to keep purchasing it because it has been so effective for helping their kid function well in school. And that's what most parents want. We are so inundated with information and, all the things that are coming at us with electronics. Many kids have attention issues. Many kids have hyperactivity issues because they don't ever get any downtime. They're always on like this, like what we're doing.
It's
always on the screen.
It's a real problem for sure. I know myself, like I've become, like many others, super, super hooked on the phone. It follows me everywhere. I started leaving it. Like I'll put it away. I get up in the morning, I leave it upstairs charging. I don't even look at it now for at least, I try not to, for at least a half an hour after I get up. That's the last thing I need to do. I see people all the time. I don't see them, but I know that people get up. The first thing they do is they roll over, they grab their phone and they're scrolling on social media, looking at, it's like, how could that be good for you anyway? It seems so toxic to wake up like that. Like I want to go out for a walk. I want to go sit in the sun. I want to go meditate. I want to chill. No more craziness in the morning for me, please.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome to be able to do that. I know I'm guilty with the phone. I have a tendency to turn my phone off at night so that it's off in the morning, even when I get up.
And I don't need the alarm anymore, right? Like as you get older, you get to a point where your biological clock, like it wakes you up regardless. Like, unless I got to wake up at like 5 o'clock, like I'm getting up every morning at 6, 7. Like I'm not.
Yeah, no. And if I have to set an alarm for whatever reason, like take somebody to the airport or whatever, I don't sleep well that night because then I'm waking up every hour.
Anxiety about the fact that the alarm is coming.
You
need a gummy for that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Mary Lisa, what's one mistake that you see people make most when they try CBD for the first time?
Oh, I tried it. It didn't work.
They take it like one time. They take it once and they don't. It doesn't like. It doesn't give them the magical instant gratification, instant effects that they're looking for, and they think that,
So I do a lot of education when anybody comes in or calls me or wants to know, tell me about this stuff. It is not a drug. You need to take it regularly. You need to take it every day, preferably at the same time. When somebody is first brand new, just starting it, I tell them, give yourself a week. So within 3 days of taking the dose that you're taking, and I tell people to go low, go slow, go low. That's, where I say go slow, go low. Start with a low dosage. Give yourself 3 days of taking it at that dosage to see if it works. If you don't notice any change or you don't notice enough of a change, increase it. And because everybody's different, you have no idea what is your dose. And just I can give you my family. Like mine is low. I don't need much at all. I will randomly take a gummy because my life pretty much flows. I don't really have a lot of anxiety or stress. I mean, other than like somebody selling the building and moving into a new place, moving there. My anxiety was a little high. But in general, I'm pretty chill. I mean, you've known me a while, you know, I'm pretty chill.
Mm-hmm.
So if I take something, it's a very low dose. Family members, I've got several family members who take the highest dose.
So what is the highest dose? Is there too much? Like what happens if you took like 10 times the highest dose? Is there any negative consequences, or it's just the same as taking too much of a supplement and a vitamin? Like obviously too much of anything can create problems, but is there too much?
There's no medical evidence that I've seen, and somebody, you know, if anybody's willing to correct me or show me studies to the contrary, there's nothing negative. If you take too much, it's just not effective. So what I have seen and what I've read is that the maximum dosage per day spread out into doses is 100 milligrams.
Okay.
So that would be like taking a 3,000 milligram tincture, and I only have that in an isolate because that would be, you know, 30. That would be 100 milligrams
a month worth of
a day. You know, so that seems to be the maximum that has any efficacy. It's not effective if you take more. I have known people that have taken more and they're really high strung people and it doesn't have any negative impact on them at all. And they just take it in divided doses through the day. So everybody's different. That's the whole piece. There is no set, you take this. But that's true with a lot of different medications.
It's player dependent.
Absolutely. Play around with it. See what it is that works best for you. And I tell people within a week, you should know what works best for you.
So, because I've heard for cannabis that there is also much the same. There is no too much. There's no lethal dose. Like from my experience, the only risk you have when you ingest too much cannabis is that one, you're going to pass out, or two, you're going to eat everything in your house. But beyond that, like you're not going to.
People tell me about their anxiety.
Or get anxiety, but in terms of
yeah,
it's not lethal or toxic in the way that like opiates are, right? Where if you take too much of that, it will
stop
your
heart.
Heart.
Nobody's going to die from it. You're not going to die from an overdose of any kind of cannabis.
Yeah.
So no, and you're right. They might gain weight. They might sleep too much, and you know. But other than that, no, there's not any real negative. There's nothing negative. That's why I continue to
nothing to lose, baby.
As an option. I offer it as an option towards people's healing. When people are trying to heal the things that they've come in to talk to me about, you know, it's just one of the options. The crystals, the essential oils, lavender. I'm a big lavender person. Meditation. There's so many different things that I offer to people, and it's find something that works for you. You
Indeed.
know, talk to mediums. I have mediums. I actually have a tarot card who's a tarot card reader who's also a medium. She's here in this office on Fridays now from 1 to 5. And she's really awesome. So she'll be here actually later today, since today is Friday. And I just love watching her work. When I've seen her work, it's like, oh, that's really cool. Because she just starts flipping cards and telling you a story. And it's like, whew, I've had many people walk out of my office crying because they're like, wow, that was so powerful. That was so spot on. That was like, oh, I really need to make changes with my life. It's just interesting. But I'm open to anything that is helpful. And if any of the energetic healing that I offer here is a service, if none of that works, I work with Greenbrook. Greenbrook does the esketamine. So it's a ketamine, the nasal ketamine, and they do the TMS, the transmagnetic stimulation.
Yep. I'm familiar with both of those therapies. I had somebody on the podcast a while ago who's right down the road from me who administers. I went to the actual in-person.
Blue Wave. Yep.
Blue
Wave.
Umbrella. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Shout out Eric Robbins, Blue Umbrella.
Yes. Blue Umbrella. I have actually a personal friend who's there now, doing, receiving treatment again. I know somebody else that did the TMS there and is now doing the esketamine. I know people at Greenbook and Blue Umbrella. They're both local. They're both providing very similar service. They provide the same services. And some of that's just about what does your insurance cover? Because that's where you start to get into some of it as well, because insurance doesn't cover metaphysical treatment. Insurance doesn't cover aromatherapy and hemp and, tarot and oracle card and mediums. And it doesn't cover any of that, but it is a healing modality. And that's the sad part, that it doesn't offer any. There's lots of medical stuff that it does help with. I'm reading Edgar Casey's life story. That's a whole other, that's a whole other story.
A whole other story for a whole other day.
Yes, indeed. So, any other questions? What else do you want to throw at me?
All right. One last thing before we wrap up here.
Okay.
Just one, and you may have already touched on it, but touch on it again in case anybody missed it. The one thing that you'd like everybody to know about CBD.
It is not a drug. It's a supplement. Nobody's ever overdosed on it. Nobody's ever had a bad trip. It's just an option. At the end of the day, it's just an option. There are many.
Indeed. Okay, well, let's leave it at that. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway from this episode? We want your feedback. If you have any questions, please let us know. We'll be sure to answer them on future episodes.
Yep.
We thank you all for joining us on this magical ride into CBD land today. And we will catch you all next time on the next episode of the Hemp Del Soul podcast. You like how I did that little, I slowed down. The next
slow jazz.
Smooth. Everybody stay blessed. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful month. Have a wonderful year. And we will catch you next time. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Hemp Del Soul podcast. Explore our wide range of organic products at hempdelsoul.com. That's HEMPDELSOUL.com or contact 954-854-1039.